Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. Today's fanfiction is What If Anko Shinigami was reverse summoned to the Naruto Universe Part 1. If you like today's video, please like and subscribe for more parts of the story. Don't forget to comment Part 2. Now without further ado, let's start the video. Chapter 1, New Arrival in a New Land. The Fay Wild sprawled before Anko Shinigami, a mesmerizing tapestry of vibrant hues and unearthly beauty. Its kaleidoscopic landscapes stretched endlessly in every direction, shifting and shimmering like a mirage under the light of an unseen sun. Ancient trees, gnarled and twisted in impossible shapes, loomed overhead, their leaves aglow with a celestial radiance that bathed the realm in an ethereal glow. Amidst this surreal backdrop, a sense of tranquility reigned, shattered only by the sudden appearance of runic shapes and symbols, tearing through the fabric of reality with crackling arcane energy. Anko, a warrior from another world, stood at the epicenter of the disturbance, her crimson armor a stark contrast against the otherworldly landscape. With a commanding presence that demanded attention, she surveyed the scene before her, her red hair flowing behind her like a fiery banner. "Hold, men." Anko's voice cut through the air like a clarion call, her hand raised in a commanding gesture, as she addressed her squad of samurai. "I am taking point from here on. Zulu, if I get teleported, take command." Zulu, Anko's second-in-command, responded with a resolute yes, his unwavering loyalty evident in his tone. Anko nodded in approval, her confidence bolstered by the trust she had in her squad. With cautious steps, Anko approached the anomaly, her senses on high alert, as she gauged the surreal magic that permeated the air. As she moved closer, strange symbols etched into the ground caught her attention, glowing with an otherworldly light that pulsed with arcane power. Recognizing the significance of the markings, Anko's curiosity was piqued, her hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of the colossal greatsword strapped to her back. What strange markings, Anko mused to herself, her voice barely a whisper amidst the crackling energy that surrounded her. With a sense of determination, she pressed forward, her senses tingling with anticipation, as she prepared to unravel the mysteries of her new surroundings. But before she could take another step, the air around her erupted in a torrential gust, the symbols and letters latching onto her with an almost sentient force. With a sudden jolt, Anko felt herself being torn away from the familiar sights of the Fay Wild, her world consumed by darkness, as she was pulled into the unknown. In a secret underground lair shrouded in darkness, Orochimaru, the enigmatic serpent-like ninja with his trademark sinister smirk, lounged casually in his ominous laboratory. Across from him, Kabuto, his loyal right-hand man with an air of calculating intelligence, stood poised, awaiting his master's commands. "Lord Orochimaru, our little surprise for the leaf is ready," Kabuto announced with a mischievous glint in his eyes, his voice dripping with anticipation. Orochimaru's eyes lit up with a gleam of excitement as he leaned forward, his pale features twisted into a wicked grin. "Excellent, Kabuto. Tell me, what have you prepared?" With dramatic flair, Kabuto outlined their elaborate scheme, detailing the infiltration of the Chunin exams by the Sound Genin and the retrieval of the Kazekij's body for the upcoming invasion. "And we've ensured that the Sand Village will follow their Kazekij to the very end," he added with a sinister chuckle. Suddenly, a mysterious poof resonated through the lab, interrupting their conversation and sparking Orochimaru's interest. "Kabuto, what experiment just went off?" he inquired, his eyes alight with curiosity. With a flourish, Kabuto sifted through the scrolls until he found the one emitting wisps of smoke. "My lord, it seems experiment 008, nature summoning, has been activated," he announced, his voice tinged with excitement. A wicked grin spread across Orochimaru's face as he closed his eyes, relishing the thrill of the unexpected. "Ah yes. One of my early attempts at reverse summoning without a contract," he reminisced, his mind racing with possibilities. "Send spies to investigate, Kabuto." Let's see what this summoning has brought us. As the scene faded to black, ominous laughter filled the air, setting the stage for the thrilling chaos that was about to unfold. As the arcane energies crackled and surged around her, Anko felt herself being torn from the familiar embrace of the Fay Wild, her senses assaulted by a whirlwind of chaos and uncertainty. Colors blurred and shifted, reality twisting and contorting like a canvas in the hands of a mad artist. With a sudden jolt, Anko found herself hurtling through a void of darkness, the fabric of space and time unraveling around her. It was as if the very essence of existence had been torn asunder, leaving her adrift in a maelstrom of primal energy. Sensations washed over her in waves, disorienting and overwhelming. A kaleidoscope of sights, sounds, and smells assaulted her senses, each more intense than the last. It was like being caught in the midst of a tempest, buffeted by forces beyond her comprehension. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the chaos subsided, leaving Anko standing on solid ground once more. But this was no familiar landscape of the Fay Wild. No, this was something altogether different, a world pulsating with its own unique energy, its very essence thrumming with an unfamiliar vitality. Anko blinked, her orange eyes wide with disbelief as she took in her surroundings. She had been reversed summoned into a universe unlike any she had ever known, a world of ninjas, chakra, and endless possibilities. And as she stood there, bathed in the strange glow of this new reality, she knew that her life would never be the same again. As Anko's gaze swept over the small outskirt village that now surrounded her, she couldn't help but feel a sense of disorientation mingled with a cautious curiosity. The village seemed to radiate a quiet serenity, its streets lined with quaint wooden buildings and neatly tended gardens. The air was crisp and clean, tinged with the faint scent of fresh earth and blooming flowers, a stark contrast to the wild, untamed beauty of the Fay Wild. Despite the peaceful ambience, Anko couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled over her like a heavy shroud. The villagers moved about their daily routines with a sense of purpose, their eyes flickering nervously towards the imposing figure clad in crimson armor, who now stood amidst them. Anko's presence loomed large, her massive greatsword strapped to her back serving as a silent reminder of her formidable strength. As Anko continued to survey her surroundings, she couldn't help but notice the similarities between this village and the small towns she had encountered in the Fay Wild. There was a sense of community here, a bond forged through shared struggles and triumphs, a feeling that resonated deep within her, despite the foreignness of this new world. But beneath the surface tranquility, Anko sensed a subtle undercurrent of tension, a quiet apprehension that lurked in the shadows, waiting to reveal itself at the slightest provocation. It was a feeling she knew all too well, one that spoke of hidden dangers and unseen threats lurking just beyond the edge of perception. With a stoic expression masking her inner turmoil, Anko took a cautious step forward, her senses on high alert, as she prepared to navigate this unfamiliar landscape. Though she remained calm and composed on the surface, she couldn't shake the feeling that her presence had stirred something dormant within the village, a feeling that whispered of challenges yet to come. Anko continued to survey the tranquil surroundings of the small outskirt village, her sharp senses attuned to the slightest shift in the air. She suddenly sensed a presence approaching from behind. Instinctively, her hand drifted towards the hilt of her greatsword, ready to defend herself if need be. Turning slowly to face the newcomer, Anko's keen eyes fell upon a familiar figure, a young boy with spiky blonde hair and bright blue eyes, his expression a mixture of curiosity and excitement. It was Naruto Uzumaki, the village troublemaker, known for his boundless energy and indomitable spirit. Naruto's grin widened as he bounded towards Anko, his enthusiasm radiating from every pore. "Hey there. What's your name? You look pretty cool with that big sword and fancy armor," he exclaimed, his voice brimming with excitement. Anko regarded Naruto with a mixture of bemusement and curiosity, her orange eyes assessing him carefully. "I'm Anko Shinigami," she replied evenly, her tone measured. "And you are?" Naruto's eyes lit up with excitement at the chance to make a new friend, oblivious to Anko's lack of knowledge about him. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," he declared proudly, puffing out his chest. "The future Hokage." As Anko regarded Naruto with a mixture of bemusement and curiosity, she couldn't help but feel intrigued by his bold declaration of wanting to become Hokage. "Hokage, huh? What exactly is a Hokage?" she asked, her voice tinged with genuine curiosity. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise at Anko's question, momentarily taken aback by her lack of knowledge about one of the most revered titles in the village. "You don't know what a Hokage is," he exclaimed, his enthusiasm undimmed. "A Hokage is the strongest ninja in the village, the leader who protects everyone and makes sure the village is safe. They are like the ultimate ninja." Anko listened intently as Naruto explained, her curiosity piqued by his passionate description of the role of Hokage. Naruto continued to chatter excitedly about his dreams and aspirations. Anko found herself beginning to relax in his presence, the tension of her sudden arrival in this unfamiliar world slowly melting away. As they talked, Anko couldn't help but be drawn in by Naruto's infectious energy and unwavering determination. Despite the strangeness of her situation, she found herself feeling oddly at ease in Naruto's company, his genuine enthusiasm casting a warm glow over their conversation. As Anko and Naruto continued their conversation, the sound of approaching footsteps drew their attention. Turning towards the source of the noise, Anko watched as 3 more figures emerged from the shadows, their presence announcing their arrival with an air of anticipation. Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi stepped into view, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and intrigue as they laid eyes on the mysterious newcomer. Sakura's emerald eyes widened with curiosity as she took in Anko's imposing figure, while Sasuke's dark gaze remained inscrutable, his expression betraying no hint of emotion. Kakashi, ever the picture of calm and collectedness, regarded Anko with a thoughtful expression, his single visible eye betraying a glimmer of interest. "And who might you be?" he inquired, his tone measured. Anko regarded Kakashi with a calm demeanor, her expression betraying no hint of unease. "I am Anko Shinigami," she replied evenly, her voice steady. "And it seems fate has brought me to this village." Sakura's curiosity piqued at Anko's introduction, and she stepped forward with a polite smile. "Anko Shinigami. What an intriguing name," she remarked, her tone polite yet tinged with curiosity. Sasuke remained silent, his dark gaze fixed on Anko as if assessing her for any signs of weakness. Anko met his stare with a steady gaze of her own, her expression unreadable. Naruto, sensing the tension in the air, stepped forward with a determined gleam in his eyes. "Hey, come on, guys. Anko's cool. She's just like us, a ninja trying to find her place in the world," he declared, his voice ringing with conviction. "We should give her a chance." As Naruto declared that Anko was a ninja like them, Anko couldn't help but feel the need to clarify. "Actually, Naruto, I'm not a ninja," she explained, her voice calm and measured. "I come from a place called the Fay Wild, and I am a warrior of the samurai tradition." Sakura's eyes widened in surprise at Anko's revelation, while Sasuke's gaze remained impassive, though a flicker of interest danced in his dark eyes. Kakashi, ever the observant sensei, regarded Anko with renewed interest, his single visible eye betraying a hint of curiosity. "The name Shinigami is simply my clan name from the forecourt," Anko continued, her voice steady. "In my homeland, we have a different way of life, but I am here now, in this world, trying to find my place." Naruto's expression shifted from surprise to curiosity as he processed Anko's explanation. "Wow, that's so cool," he exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with admiration. "So, you're like a samurai warrior, huh? That's awesome." Anko nodded in acknowledgement of Naruto's enthusiasm, a small smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "Thank you, Naruto," she said warmly. "I'm glad you think so." As the initial shock of Anko's revelation began to fade, the atmosphere between the group relaxed, and Anko felt a sense of relief wash over her. Despite their differences, she could sense a bond forming between them, a bond forged by mutual respect and understanding. With a warm smile, Anko turned to Naruto and spoke in a gentle tone. "Naruto, would you mind introducing me to your team?" she asked, her voice laced with genuine curiosity. "I'd love to get to know the people you work with." Naruto's face lit up with enthusiasm at Anko's request. "Of course, Anko. I'd be happy to introduce you," he exclaimed, before turning to his teammates. "Hey, guys, come over here. I want you to meet someone." As Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi approached, Anko couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia wash over her. She remembered her own days as a young warrior, full of adventure and excitement, much like Naruto and his teammates. Naruto proudly introduced each member of his team. Anko listened attentively, taking note of their names and roles within the group. Sakura's dedication and intelligence, Sasuke's quiet strength, and Kakashi's reputation as a legendary ninja, all of it intrigued her. When Naruto expressed just how badass Kakashi was, Anko couldn't help but feel a surge of interest. She regarded Kakashi with a newfound respect, her orange eyes shining with admiration. "It's an honor to meet you, Kakashi," she said respectfully, bowing her head in acknowledgement. Kakashi regarded Anko with his usual calm demeanor, his visible eye crinkling slightly in amusement. "Likewise, Anko Shinigami," he replied, his voice tinged with a hint of amusement. "I look forward to getting to know you better." Naruto recounted their mission to the Land of Waves. Anko listened intently, eager to understand how Team 7 operated in the field. She observed the camaraderie between Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke, noting how they worked together seamlessly despite their differences. Naruto described their encounter with the rogue ninja Zabuza and his apprentice Haku. Anko's interest piqued. She admired the bravery and determination displayed by Naruto and his teammates, their unwavering resolve in the face of danger. The conversation turned to Kakashi's leadership. Anko couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity. "It's interesting that Kakashi is your team leader," she remarked thoughtfully. "Where I come from, I also served as a squad leader of Team Ignis during my adventuring days." Naruto's eyes widened in surprise at Anko's revelation. "Wow, really? That's awesome," he exclaimed, his admiration evident. "So, you know what it's like to lead a team too?" Anko nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Yes, I do," she replied. "And I can tell you from experience that having a strong leader makes all the difference in the world." Naruto and Anko exchanged stories of their respective leadership experiences. A sense of camaraderie began to form between them. And as Anko looked upon Naruto and his teammates, she couldn't help but feel a sense of kinship, a bond forged by their shared experiences as warriors. Kakashi turned to Anko with a curious expression. "So, Anko, since you're not technically a ninja or a civilian, it's only fitting that we take you to meet the third Hokage," he said, his tone thoughtful. "Surely Naruto here has explained in great detail what a Hokage is." Anko's interest was piqued by Kakashi's mention of the third Hokage, though she remained unaware of who he was. She nodded in response, her expression attentive as she listened intently to what Kakashi had to say. Naruto, sensing Anko's curiosity, jumped in eagerly. "Yeah, Anko, the Hokage is like the leader of the whole village," he explained enthusiastically. "They are super strong and wise, and they protect everyone in the village." Anko nodded, absorbing Naruto's words with interest. The concept of a village leader was familiar to her, but the idea of someone as powerful and respected as a Hokage intrigued her. "Sounds like someone I'd like to meet," she replied, a hint of excitement in her voice. "Lead the way, Kakashi. I'm eager to learn more about this village and its leaders." As Kakashi mentioned the village leader, Anko's thoughts drifted back to her clan master, Ieyasu, whose wisdom and strength had guided their community in the Fay Wild. She drew parallels between Ieyasu's leadership and the role of the Hokage, recognizing the importance of having a strong and respected figure to lead and protect their people. In her mind, she pictured Ieyasu standing tall and proud, his presence commanding respect and admiration from all who knew him. Just as Ieyasu had been a pillar of strength and guidance for their clan, she imagined the Hokage fulfilling a similar role for the people of Konoha. With a sense of reverence for the village's leadership, Anko followed Kakashi and Naruto, eager to meet the third Hokage and learn more about the village. As they walked towards Konoha, Anko took in the sights and sounds of the forest, her keen senses attuned to the vibrant energy of the natural world around her. The trees whispered secrets of ages past, their towering forms casting dappled shadows upon the forest floor. Anko's gaze lingered on the sunlight filtering through the canopy, illuminating patches of moss and wildflowers that dotted the landscape. They approached the imposing gates of Konoha. Anko marveled at the sheer size and craftsmanship of the structures. The gates stood as guardians, silent sentinels watching over the village with unwavering vigilance. Anko exchanged a few words with the two eternal Chunin guards stationed at the gates, her tone respectful, as she greeted them with a nod of acknowledgement. Kakashi spoke on her behalf, explaining their purpose and ensuring their safe passage into the village. They made their way through the bustling streets of Konoha. Anko's senses were assaulted by a cacophony of sounds and smells. Merchants hawked their wares from colorful stalls, children laughed and played in the streets, and the aroma of freshly cooked food wafted through the air. Anko took it all in with a sense of wonder, her eyes darting from one sight to the next as they navigated their way towards the Hokage Tower. Finally, they reached their destination, and Anko's gaze was drawn to the towering monument that loomed over the village square. The faces of past Hokage gazed down upon them, their visages carved in stone as a testament to their legacy. Anko felt a surge of reverence as she gazed upon the monument, her heart swelling with pride at the thought of standing before the leader of such a storied village. With a sense of anticipation coursing through her veins, Anko followed Kakashi and Naruto as they ascended the steps of the Hokage Tower, eager to meet the third Hokage. Team 7, accompanied by Anko, entered the Hokage Tower. They were greeted by the imposing figure of the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. His office was a reflection of his wisdom and authority, with shelves lined with scrolls and artifacts from across the village. Hiruzen regarded the group with a warm yet solemn expression as they approached. Team 7, I trust your mission went smoothly, he inquired, his voice carrying a weight of authority tempered with kindness. Naruto stepped forward, a proud grin on his face. Yes, old man. We completed our mission and brought Tazuna back safely, he exclaimed, his enthusiasm evident. Hiruzen nodded in approval before his gaze shifted to the unfamiliar figure standing beside them. And who is this? He asked, his curiosity piqued. Kakashi stepped forward, his tone respectful as he introduced Anko to the Hokage. Hokage-sama, allow me to introduce Anko Shinigami. She is a warrior from another world, who has found herself in our village under unusual circumstances. Hiruzen's brow furrowed slightly at the mention of Anko's origins, but he remained composed as he addressed her directly. Anko Shinigami, I bid you welcome to Konoha, he said, his voice carrying the weight of his authority. It is not often that we receive visitors from other realms, but you are welcome here nonetheless. Anko bowed respectfully, her demeanor calm yet attentive as she addressed the Hokage. Thank you, Hokage-sama. It is an honor to be here, she replied, her voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling within her. Hiruzen regarded Anko with a shrewd gaze, his eyes narrowing slightly as he studied her. I trust you will abide by our village's laws and customs while you are here, he said, his tone firm yet not unkind. Anko nodded in agreement, her expression serious as she met the Hokage's gaze. Of course, Hokage-sama. I have no intention of causing any trouble, she assured him, her voice unwavering. With a nod of approval, Hiruzen dismissed Team 7, instructing them to resume their duties. As they filed out of the room, Anko lingered behind, her gaze locking with Kakashi's as they prepared to discuss matters of her sudden appearance with the Hokage. Hiruzen regarded Anko with a thoughtful expression, his gaze lingering on her unique features: the pointed ears, the curious attire, and most notably, the absence of pupils in her eyes, replaced by a glowing orange light. He spoke in a measured tone, his voice betraying both curiosity and caution. Anko Shinigami, I must admit, your appearance is unlike any we have seen in the village before, he began, his voice carrying the weight of his years of experience. Your attire, your weaponry, and your unconventional features raise questions that must be addressed. Anko met Hiruzen's gaze evenly, her expression calm yet attentive as she awaited his inquiries. She knew that her arrival in Konoha had undoubtedly raised suspicions, and she was prepared to answer whatever questions the Hokage might have. Hiruzen continued, his tone becoming more serious as he delved into the heart of the matter. Firstly, I must ask about your loyalties. As a warrior from another world, where do your allegiances lie? Are you here as a friend, or a potential threat to our village? Anko's response was immediate and unwavering. Hokage-sama, I assure you that I harbor no ill will towards Konoha, or its people, she replied, her voice steady with conviction. I come seeking answers and understanding, nothing more. Hiruzen nodded in acknowledgement, his expression softening slightly at Anko's earnest response. Very well, he said, his tone more gentle now. And what of your abilities? I cannot help but notice the formidable weapon at your side and the aura of strength that surrounds you. Anko glanced down at her colossal greatsword, her fingers tracing the intricate designs etched into its blade. My abilities are those of a warrior trained in the arts of combat and strategy, she explained, her voice tinged with pride. I am proficient with various weapons and fighting styles, and I have honed my skills through years of training and experience. Finally, Hiruzen's gaze turned to Anko's eyes, the glowing orange light reflecting his scrutiny. And your unique features, he remarked, choosing his words carefully. Your eyes, your ears, what do they signify? Are they merely cosmetic, or do they hold some deeper significance? Anko met Hiruzen's gaze evenly, her expression unreadable as she considered her response. These are the features of my people, Hokage-sama, she replied, her voice tinged with a hint of nostalgia. They are a reflection of my heritage, my ancestry, a reminder of where I come from and who I am. Hiruzen nodded in understanding, his demeanor shifting from cautious to contemplative. Very well, Anko Shinigami, he said, his voice carrying a note of respect. I will trust in your words for now. But know that I will be keeping a close eye on you, for the safety of our village depends on it. Now for my next question, do you, Anko, wish to join our forces? We will of course test you to determine rank and squad, but will not force you to join our shinobi forces. Hiruzen's question hung in the air, the weight of its implications settling over the room like a heavy shroud. Anko regarded the Hokage with a thoughtful expression, her mind racing as she considered her response. Joining the forces of Konoha was not a decision to be made lightly. It would mean leaving behind her old life and embracing a new path, one fraught with uncertainty and danger. As she weighed her options, Anko's thoughts turned to her master, Ieyasu, and the lessons he had imparted upon her. She remembered his words of wisdom, his guidance, and his unwavering belief in her abilities as a warrior. She knew that he would want her to embrace this opportunity, to test her skills against new challenges and forge her own destiny in this unfamiliar world. With a sense of determination coursing through her veins, Anko met Hiruzen's gaze with newfound resolve. Hokage-sama, I accept your offer, she declared, her voice steady with conviction. I am willing to undergo whatever tests you deem necessary to determine my rank and squad placement. Hiruzen nodded in acknowledgement, a faint smile playing on his lips. "Very well, Anko Shinigami," he said, his tone tinged with approval. "You have shown courage and determination in the face of uncertainty, qualities that will serve you well in our village." But before Anko could take her leave, she paused, a question lingering on her lips. "Hokage-sama, if I may," she began, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "Is it permissible for me to remain a samurai, even as I serve Konoha?" Hiruzen regarded Anko with a thoughtful expression, considering her request carefully. He knew that integrating a warrior from another world into the ranks of the shinobi forces would present its own challenges, but he also recognized the value of diversity and the strength it could bring to their village. After a moment of contemplation, Hiruzen nodded in acquiescence. "Anko Shinigami, you are free to retain your identity as a samurai," he replied, his tone firm yet understanding. "We welcome warriors of all backgrounds and disciplines into our village, for it is through diversity that we find strength." With that, Anko bowed respectfully to the Hokage, a sense of gratitude swelling within her heart. She knew that she had made the right decision to embrace this new opportunity, to test her skills against new challenges, and to honor the legacy of her master by forging her own path in this world of ninjas and shinobi. "Hokage-sama, what are to be my living arrangements?" Anko's question hung in the air, her curiosity mirrored in the eyes of those around her. She awaited Hiruzen's response with bated breath, eager to learn what her new life in Konoha would entail. The Hokage considered Anko's inquiry for a moment before turning to Kakashi, his gaze lingering on the seasoned jonin with a knowing expression. "Kakashi, do you still have your father's guest bedroom?" he asked, his voice carrying a note of authority. Kakashi nodded in affirmation, his visible eye crinkling slightly in acknowledgement. "Yes, Hokage-sama, I do," he replied, his tone respectful. Hiruzen nodded in approval before turning his attention back to Anko. "Anko Shinigami, you will stay with Kakashi for the time being," he declared, his voice firm yet reassuring. "He will serve as your guide, mentor, and escort around the village." Anko's eyes widened in surprise at the Hokage's decree, her thoughts racing as she processed the implications of his words. To have someone as experienced as Kakashi as her mentor was an unexpected honor, one that she did not take lightly. As the reality of her new living arrangements sank in, Anko felt a sense of anticipation bubbling within her chest. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and obstacles, but she also knew that with Kakashi by her side, she would have the support and guidance she needed to succeed. With a respectful bow to the Hokage, Anko accepted her new mission with determination shining in her eyes. She was ready to embark on this new chapter of her life, to hone her skills as a warrior, and to prove herself worthy of the title of genin. And with Kakashi as her mentor, she knew that nothing would stand in her way. Anko's gratitude was palpable as she turned to face the Hokage, her expression one of respect and appreciation. "Thank you, Hokage-sama, for this opportunity," she said earnestly, her voice carrying a note of sincerity. Hiruzen nodded in acknowledgement, a small smile playing on his lips. "You're welcome, Anko Shinigami," he replied warmly. "We look forward to seeing what you can accomplish here in Konoha." Anko then turned to Kakashi, her eyes meeting his with a sense of determination. "And Kakashi-sensei," she said, her voice firm yet respectful. "If you or the Hokage have any more questions for me, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm here to learn and to serve to the best of my abilities." Kakashi regarded Anko with a nod of approval, his visible eye crinkling slightly in amusement. "I'll keep that in mind, Anko," he replied, his tone casual yet reassuring. "But for now, let's focus on getting you settled in and ready for the challenges that lie ahead." With a sense of purpose guiding her steps, Anko followed Kakashi out of the Hokage's office, her mind buzzing with excitement and anticipation for the journey that awaited her. She was determined to make the most of this opportunity to prove herself worthy of the trust placed in her, and to become the best warrior she could be. And with the support of her new mentor, and the village of Konoha behind her, she knew that anything was possible. As Hiruzen watched Anko and Kakashi depart from his office, he couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism wash over him. The arrival of someone like Anko, a skilled warrior from another realm, was a testament to the strength and diversity of Konoha. Gazing out over the bustling village below, Hiruzen reflected on the challenges that lay ahead. The Chunin exams were fast approaching, and with the addition of Anko to their ranks, Konoha's prospects were looking brighter than ever. But amidst the excitement and anticipation, Hiruzen couldn't shake a lingering sense of unease. Orochimaru's presence loomed over the village like a dark shadow, his insidious machinations threatening to disrupt the delicate balance of peace and stability. With a heavy heart, Hiruzen made a silent vow to protect Konoha at all costs, to ensure that Anko and all of its citizens could live free from the clutches of darkness. And as he turned back to his desk to attend to his duties, Hiruzen knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with peril, but he was ready to face whatever challenges came their way, for the sake of the village and all who called it home. As the Rookie 9 gathered around Team 7, their curiosity was palpable, each member eager to learn more about the mysterious newcomer, who had stirred up so much commotion in the village. I know, always one to jump to conclusions, was the first to speak up. So, who's the new girl? Is she some kind of ninja or something? Choji, never one to miss a chance to talk about food, chimed in next. Hey, does she like snacks? I could go for some barbecue right about now. Hinata, shy but curious, spoke up timidly. Is she nice? I mean, does she seem friendly? Shino, always observing from the sidelines, offered a more analytical inquiry. Has she displayed any unusual abilities or behaviors that we should be aware of? Kiba, ever the brash one, cut straight to the chase. Did she bring any cool weapons with her? Like a giant sword or something? And finally, Shikamaru, who couldn't help but voice his concern, asked the most important question of all. Is she gonna be troublesome for us? We don't need any more trouble right now. As the barrage of questions continued, Team 7 found themselves at the center of attention, trying their best to answer as best they could. But amidst the chaos, one thing was clear: the arrival of Anko had certainly set the village abuzz, and everyone was eager to unravel the mystery of the enigmatic warrior, who had suddenly appeared in their midst. The questions from the Rookie 9 came pouring in. Team 7 did their best to provide answers, each member responding in their own unique way. Naruto, ever the enthusiastic one, grinned widely as he addressed the group. She's Anko Shinigami, a warrior from another world. And she's super cool. You guys gotta meet her. Sakura, always the practical one, nodded in agreement. Yeah, she seems nice. Sasuke, however, was less impressed. His brooding demeanor darkened as he muttered, "She's just some samurai. Nothing special." He couldn't help but feel annoyed that his training time was being interrupted for someone who didn't seem to measure up to his own abilities. The questions continued. Team 7 did their best to answer, but Sasuke couldn't shake the feeling of irritation that lingered within him. In his mind, there was only one thing that mattered: becoming stronger, no matter what obstacles stood in his way. Naruto's frustration bubbled up as Sasuke dismissed Anko, and he shot back, "Hey, don't call her that, Sasuke. She's really strong and deserves respect." Sasuke simply shrugged in response, his expression stoic as ever. "Whatever, dope," he muttered dismissively, turning his attention elsewhere as he brooded over the missed training time. As the Rookie 9 dispersed, each member returning to their respective activities, they couldn't help but feel a lingering sense of curiosity about the mysterious warrior who had captured the attention of the village. Whispers and speculations buzzed among them as they departed, eager to share their newfound gossip with friends and teammates. As Kakashi and Anko emerged from the Hokage Tower, Team 7 approached them eagerly, their curiosity piqued. Naruto was the first to speak up, his excitement palpable. "Hey, Kakashi-sensei. How did it go? What did the Hokage say?" Sakura nodded in agreement, her eyes flickering with curiosity. "Yeah, we've been waiting to hear all about it." Sasuke remained silent, his expression unreadable as he watched Kakashi and Anko closely, his interest evident despite his stoic demeanor. Kakashi glanced at Anko before turning his attention to his eager students. "Well, everything went smoothly. The Hokage has agreed to let Anko stay in the village for now." Anko nodded in confirmation, a small smile playing on her lips. "Yes, it seems I'll be joining you all for a while," she added, her voice calm and composed. Naruto beamed at the news, his excitement bubbling over. "That's awesome. We can show you around and introduce you to everyone." Sakura nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, we'll make sure you feel right at home." Sasuke remained silent, but a flicker of interest crossed his features as he regarded Anko with a newfound curiosity. As the evening approached, Naruto's concern for Anko's accommodation was met with nods of approval from Sakura and a raised eyebrow from Sasuke. "Yeah, where are you staying, Anko-san?" Sakura asked eagerly, her eyes shining with curiosity. Before Anko could respond, Sasuke's frustration erupted, and he threw a punch at Anko's armored chest with a growl of annoyance. Anko stood her ground, the impact barely registering against her sturdy armor. Sakura gasped in shock, her hands flying to her mouth as she watched the scene unfold. "Sasuke-kun, what are you doing?" she exclaimed, her voice filled with concern for both Anko and Sasuke. Kakashi's eye narrowed in disapproval as he stepped forward, his voice tinged with anger. "Sasuke, that's enough," he reprimanded sharply. "We don't resort to violence to solve our problems." Anko's eyes blazed with intensity as she met Sasuke's gaze, her hair flashing yellow as her killer intent radiated outward in a wave of fiery heat. The air around her seemed to crackle with energy, sending shivers down the spines of those nearby. Sasuke, momentarily taken aback by Anko's intimidating aura, clenched his fists in frustration. "Screw this," he muttered darkly, his brooding demeanor more pronounced than ever. "I'm going to train." With that, Sasuke turned on his heel and stormed off into the distance, leaving the rest of Team 7 to watch him go with a mixture of concern and frustration. As Anko's fiery aura subsided, her hair returned to its natural red hue, and she took a moment to compose herself. "Is he always like that?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity as she glanced at the retreating figure of Sasuke. Naruto's frustration boiled over, and he couldn't hold back his thoughts any longer. "Yeah, he's always like that," he exclaimed, his voice tinged with annoyance. "He's always brooding and acting like he's better than everyone else, just because he's an Ucha." Sakura's eyes widened in shock at Naruto's outburst, and she quickly intervened, her voice filled with reproach. "Naruto, that's not nice," she scolded, her hand darting out to smack him on the back of the head. "You shouldn't talk about Sasuke-kun like that." Anko watched the exchange with interest, noting the dynamics between the members of Team 7. She couldn't help but feel a sense of amusement at their bickering, even in the face of Sasuke's sudden outburst. Kakashi let out a weary sigh, recognizing that it was time to regroup and discuss their next steps. "All right, let's head back to my place," he said, his voice calm but authoritative. "We need to come up with a plan." The remainder of Team 7, including Anko, followed Kakashi as he led them back to his house. Along the way, they discussed their options and shared their thoughts on the situation at hand. Anko remained silent, taking in the sights and sounds of the village as they walked, her mind already racing with possibilities for the future. The team entered Kakashi's house. Sakura and Naruto took a seat at the guest table, while Anko made her way over to a nearby wall to hang up her colossal greatsword. With a confident stride, She lifted the sword and attempted to place it on the wall. But as luck would have it, the sword slipped from her grasp, crashing to the ground with a resounding thud. The impact sent shockwaves through the room, and everyone turned to see Anko standing there, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Oops," Anko muttered sheepishly, her hair turning a faint shade of blue as she realized the extent of the damage she had caused. "I really should find a better place for that indoors." Kakashi let out a small chuckle, amused by the mishap. "No harm done, Anko," he reassured her, gesturing towards the damaged floor. "We'll fix that up later." Naruto couldn't help but grin at the scene, finding Anko's accidental blunder rather amusing. "That was awesome," he exclaimed, earning a playful smack on the arm from Sakura. Sakura, meanwhile, couldn't hide her laughter at the sight of Anko's embarrassment. "Looks like even samurai have their clumsy moments," she teased, a playful glint in her eyes. Anko sighed, feeling a mix of embarrassment and amusement at the situation. Despite the mishap, she couldn't help but feel grateful for the camaraderie she shared with her new teammates. And as they gathered around to discuss their next steps, Anko couldn't shake the feeling that she was exactly where she was meant to be. Anko knelt down beside her sword, her fingers wrapping around the hilt as she prepared to lift it from the damaged floor. With a grunt of effort, she began to pry the blade from the ground, the wood splintering and cracking as it finally came free. Anko struggled with her sword. Kakashi approached with a scroll in hand, his gaze focused on the weapon. With a practiced flick of his wrist, he unfurled the scroll, revealing intricate seals and symbols etched into its surface. "Anko, I think it's time we made some adjustments to your weapon," Kakashi said, his tone calm and reassuring as he began to explain. "This is a storage scroll. It's a tool we use to store items like weapons or supplies, and retrieve them when needed." Anko's eyes widened in fascination as she watched Kakashi work. The concept of a storage scroll was entirely foreign to her, as she was more accustomed to the use of magic and artifacts in her world. She couldn't help but marvel at the complexity of the seals, wondering how such a device could function without the use of traditional magic. Kakashi began to write on the scroll, his movements precise and deliberate, as he made the necessary modifications. Anko watched intently, her curiosity piqued, as she tried to make sense of the intricate symbols before her. As Kakashi finished his work, he rolled up the scroll and handed it to Anko. "Now, when you activate the scroll with your chakra, your sword will be safely stored away until you need it," he explained. Anko accepted the scroll with a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. She had never encountered anything quite like it in the Fay Wild, and she couldn't wait to see it in action. With a deep breath, she focused her energy and channeled her magic into the scroll, attempting to activate its power. To her surprise, nothing happened. The scroll remained dormant, its seals unmoved by her efforts. Anko frowned in confusion, wondering why her magic had failed to activate the device. Kakashi, sensing her frustration, stepped in to offer an explanation. "It seems that your chakra is not compatible with the scroll," he said, his tone thoughtful. "But don't worry, I can make some adjustments to allow for motion activation instead." With a few quick modifications, Kakashi altered the scroll to respond to Anko's movements. Now, when she opened the scroll, her sword would be summoned to her hand with a simple gesture. Anko marveled at the ingenuity of the device, grateful for Kakashi's expertise. With this new modification, she felt a renewed sense of confidence in her abilities, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in this strange new world. As Anko settled at the guest table, she unclasped her Elven Samurai hat, revealing her distinctive features to her new companions. Her long red hair cascaded down her back, framing her face, while her pointed ears and glowing orange eyes caught the attention of everyone at the table. Naruto's eyes widened with curiosity as he took in Anko's appearance. "Wow, your eyes are so cool. And your ears, they really like elf ears, right?" he exclaimed, his excitement palpable as he leaned in for a closer look. Sakura, ever the observant one, couldn't help but notice Anko's unique features. "Your eyes are amazing," she remarked, her tone filled with admiration. "I've never seen anyone with eyes like yours before. Are they a special trait from your clan?" Kakashi regarded Anko with his usual calm demeanor, his visible eye crinkling slightly in amusement. "Your appearance is quite distinctive," he commented, his tone neutral yet intrigued. "I take it you're not from around here?" Anko offered a small smile in response to their questions, her expression a mix of amusement and curiosity. "You could say that," she replied cryptically, choosing not to reveal too much about her origins just yet. "In my world, my features are quite common among my people." As Kakashi began explaining the upcoming Chunin exams, Naruto and Sakura leaned in eagerly, their interest piqued by the prospect of participating in such a prestigious event. Anko listened intently, her orange eyes gleaming with anticipation, as she absorbed the details of the challenges that lay ahead. Kakashi outlined the rigorous training regimen leading up to the exams. Sakura couldn't help but feel a twinge of uncertainty about her own abilities. She remembered her perceived lack of contribution during the mission to Wave, and doubts began to creep into her mind. Sensing Sakura's hesitation, Anko placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, her expression soft yet determined. "Don't underestimate yourself, Sakura," she said gently. "Strength comes in many forms, and sometimes, it's not just about physical prowess. Strategy, intelligence, and determination are just as important." Sakura looked up at Anko, her eyes wide with gratitude for the words of encouragement. "Thank you, Anko-sensei," she said earnestly, her voice filled with sincerity. Anko's hair turned green for a moment as she chuckled at the unexpected title. "Anko-sensei, huh? I like the sound of that," she replied, her laughter ringing out warmly. "But technically, you outrank me, Sakura. I'm just here to lend a helping hand however I can." With that, Anko's presence seemed to lift the spirits of the entire team, filling them with newfound determination and resolve as they prepared to face the challenges that awaited them in the days to come. Kakashi witnessed the exchange between Anko and Sakura. He couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia wash over him. Seeing Anko offering guidance to Sakura reminded him of his own mentorship role with his former team, including his dear friend Rin. For a brief moment, he thought he caught a glimpse of Rin's spirit in Anko's demeanor, a flicker of recognition, an understanding that filled him with a bittersweet sense of longing. Naruto, on the other hand, watched the interaction with a sense of admiration and respect. He saw Anko's words resonate deeply with Sakura, and he felt a surge of pride in his teammate for embracing the wisdom offered to her. Naruto recognized the strength of their team's bond in moments like these, where they supported and uplifted each other in their journey as ninja. Overall, both Kakashi and Naruto were deeply affected by the interaction between Anko and Sakura. For Kakashi, it stirred memories of his past and the bonds he once shared with his fallen comrades. For Naruto, it reinforced the importance of teamwork and mentorship in their quest to become stronger ninja. Naruto, turning to Anko, would ask, "So do you have to take the Genin exam too, Anko?" As Naruto posed his question, Anko's attention shifted to Kakashi, awaiting his response with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Kakashi, ever the composed sensei, explained the process of determining Anko's skills and rank, outlining the various tests she would undergo, including assessments of chakra control, genjutsu, and ninjutsu. Anko's initial response was one of confusion, her orange eyes widening slightly as she struggled to comprehend the unfamiliar terminology. Sensing her uncertainty, her hair momentarily turned a shade of blue, betraying her nervousness. With a furrowed brow, she leaned forward, eager for Kakashi's explanation. Kakashi, ever the patient teacher, began to break down each concept, simplifying them as best he could for Anko's understanding. As he described chakra, fundamental aspect of ninja techniques, Anko's mind raced, trying to draw parallels to her own experiences in the Fay Wild. She likened it to the essence of magic, the life force that flowed through all living things, connecting them to the natural world. When Kakashi mentioned genjutsu and ninjutsu, Anko struggled to grasp the concepts, but she persisted, drawing on her knowledge of magic and combat techniques from her homeland to make sense of it all. She imagined genjutsu as a form of illusion magic, manipulating the senses to deceive opponents, while ninjutsu seemed akin to elemental spells, harnessing the forces of nature to unleash powerful attacks. However, it was when Kakashi mentioned nature chakra that Anko's interest was piqued. As he spoke of the innate connection to nature that some ninja possessed, Anko felt a surge of familiarity wash over her. She recalled the sensation of being surrounded by the lush forests of the Fay Wild, the whispers of the wind and the rustle of leaves echoing in her ears. For a brief moment, she felt a sense of belonging, as if she had finally found a piece of her homeland in this unfamiliar world. With newfound determination, Anko nodded, her hair returning to its natural crimson hue. "I think I understand," she said, a faint smile gracing her lips. "Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. I'm ready to give it my all." Her words were met with nods of encouragement from Naruto and Sakura, their support bolstering her resolve as she prepared to embark on this new challenge. As the conversation drew to a close and the sun dipped below the horizon, Kakashi glanced at the darkening sky, realizing the lateness of the hour. With a polite smile, he addressed Naruto and Sakura, his tone gentle but firm. "Naruto, Sakura, it's getting late. I think it's best for you two to head home and get some rest," Kakashi suggested, his visible eye crinkling in amusement as he anticipated their protests. Naruto's expression shifted from disappointment to determination, his resolve unyielding as he prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. "All right, Kakashi-sensei. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow," he declared, his enthusiasm infectious as always. Sakura nodded in agreement, her exhaustion evident as she stifled a yawn. "Yeah, you're right. We should get some rest," she conceded, her voice tinged with weariness. As Naruto and Sakura bid farewell and made their way home, Kakashi turned his attention to Anko, a knowing glint in his eye. "Looks like it's just us now, Anko. Ready for a big training day tomorrow?" he asked, his voice filled with anticipation. Anko's response was immediate, her hair flashing a vibrant shade of green as she nodded eagerly. "Absolutely, Kakashi-sensei. Training is my favorite part," she admitted, a hint of excitement lacing her words. Kakashi observed Anko's ever-changing hair with a mixture of curiosity and fascination. "Your hair seems to change color quite frequently. What do the different colors signify?" he inquired, his tone casual yet genuinely intrigued. Anko paused for a moment, considering Kakashi's question, before offering a small smile. "Each color represents a different emotion or state of mind," she explained, her voice soft yet tinged with introspection. "For example, red signifies my default state, calm, composed and focused. Blue appears when I'm feeling nervous or unsure, while green emerges when I'm excited or enthusiastic." Kakashi nodded in understanding, his visible eye taking in Anko's explanation with interest. "I've noticed that your hair changes with your mood and emotions," he remarked, a hint of amusement coloring his words. Anko chuckled softly, her expression wistful, as she reflected on the challenges of maintaining her outward appearance. "It's not easy," she admitted, her tone tinged with a hint of melancholy. "Remaining in my default state of red, my autumn, as I like to call it, requires constant focus and discipline. Any slight emotion can betray how I really feel." Kakashi regarded Anko with a newfound understanding, his gaze thoughtful as he absorbed her words. "It sounds like quite the balancing act," he remarked, his tone sympathetic. "But I suppose it's also a testament to your resilience and strength." Anko offered a grateful smile in response, appreciating Kakashi's insight and understanding. "Thank you, Kakashi-sensei," she replied sincerely. "It's not easy, but it's a part of who I am. And I wouldn't have it any other way." Anko's voice was steady but tinged with a hint of hesitation as she addressed Kakashi, her superior and mentor. "Kakashi-sensei, may I speak freely?" she asked, her tone respectful yet earnest. Kakashi's visible eye flickered with surprise at the request, momentarily transporting him back to his days in the Black Ops. "You may," he replied automatically, his voice carrying the weight of years of experience and wisdom. Anko took a deep breath, gathering her courage before broaching the sensitive topic. "Your eye, is it purely cosmetic, or?" She trailed off, her words hanging in the air, unspoken but heavy with implication. For a moment, there was silence between them, punctuated only by the soft rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Kakashi's gaze remained fixed on Anko, his expression unreadable behind his mask. Finally, he spoke, his voice low and measured. "It's not something I talk about often," he began, his tone tinged with a hint of solemnity. "But my eyes, it was sacrificed." Anko's eyes widened in surprise at the revelation, her expression one of genuine concern. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry," she apologized, her voice tinged with regret. "It's just, I couldn't help but wonder." Kakashi offered her a small, understanding smile, his visible eye crinkling at the corners. "It's all right, Anko," he reassured her gently. "You're not the first to ask, and you certainly won't be the last." Anko nodded, a sense of respect and admiration for her mentor washing over her. "Thank you for sharing, Kakashi-sensei," she said sincerely, her voice filled with gratitude. "It means a lot to me." Kakashi nodded in acknowledgement, his gaze softening as he regarded his young protégé. "You're welcome, Anko," he replied quietly. "Just remember, there are some things that are best left in the past." As Kakashi led Anko to the guest room, his demeanor shifted subtly, a hint of discomfort lingering in his movements. He gestured towards the door, his voice betraying a slight hesitance as he spoke. "This will be your room for the time being," he said, his tone neutral, but tinged with a hint of unease. Anko followed Kakashi into the room, her keen eyes taking in the details of her new surroundings. The walls were adorned with photographs of the White Fang, a legendary shinobi whose memory seemed to loom large in the space. Over the bed hung the broken blade of Kakashi's sword, a poignant reminder of the past. Anko glanced around the room. She couldn't help but notice Kakashi's avoidance of certain areas, his gaze skirting over the floor as if avoiding something unseen. Sensing his discomfort, she refrained from asking questions, instead offering him a reassuring smile. "Thank you, Kakashi-sensei," she said softly, her voice carrying a note of understanding. "I appreciate you letting me stay here." Kakashi nodded in acknowledgement, his visible eye crinkling slightly at the corners. "You're welcome, Anko," he replied quietly. "If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask." With that, Kakashi made a quick exit, leaving Anko alone in the room. As she settled in, she couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the air, a silent reminder of the past that haunted the space. Anko carefully removed each piece of her armor, the weight of the day's events hung heavy upon her shoulders. With a solemn expression, she turned her attention to the photographs adorning the walls, each one a testament to the valor and camaraderie of the White Fang and his team. Her gaze lingered on a particular picture, a somber image of Kakashi standing before a grave, his eyes haunted by grief as he stared at the tomb of his father, the White Fang. In that moment, understanding dawned upon Anko like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the darkness that had shrouded her thoughts. She realized that Kakashi's pain ran deep, a wellspring of sorrow born from loss and sacrifice. It echoed in the very walls of the room, casting a pall over the once honorable space. And as her hair began to turn a sorrowful shade of blue, Anko felt a kinship with Kakashi, shared understanding of the burdens they both carried. In the stillness of the room, Anko closed her eyes, allowing the memories of her fallen comrades to wash over her. Their faces flickered before her mind's eye, each one a testament to the cost of honor and duty. And in that moment of reflection, she found solace in the words of her mentor, Ieyasu. A warrior's life is nothing but sacrifice, his voice echoed in her mind, a steady reminder of the path she had chosen. Those of honor sacrifice everything. Remember that, Anko. With those words ringing in her ears, Anko felt a surge of determination welling within her. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and trials, but she also knew that she would not face them alone. For in the bond of sacrifice and duty, she found strength, a beacon guiding her through the darkness, towards a brighter tomorrow. And as her hair began to shift back to its vibrant crimson hue, Anko felt a renewed sense of purpose coursing through her veins. She would stand by Kakashi's side, offering her support and guidance as he faced his inner demons. For in the end, they were both warriors, bound by a common thread of sacrifice and honor, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Anko settled into bed, a sense of unease lingered in her mind. She had always relied on her elven trance to rejuvenate her body and mind, but now, in this unfamiliar world, that option was no longer available to her. With a sigh, she closed her eyes, preparing herself for the unknown sensation of sleep. At first, there was nothing but darkness, a void of emptiness that enveloped her senses. But then, slowly, ever so slowly, a warmth began to spread throughout her body, like tendrils of sunlight reaching through the canopy of a dense forest. It was a sensation unlike anything she had ever experienced, a gentle embrace that cradled her in its comforting embrace. She drifted deeper into the realm of slumber, images began to flicker behind her closed eyelids, dreams, perhaps, or memories long forgotten. She saw flashes of her past, of battles fought and victories won, of friends lost and sacrifices made. And yet, amidst the chaos of her mind, there was a sense of peace, a tranquility that washed over her like a gentle breeze, soothing her troubled soul. For the first time in her life, Anko knew true rest. It was a sensation of surrender, of letting go of all worries and fears, and simply allowing herself to be carried away by the currents of sleep. And as she drifted into the depths of unconsciousness, a single thought lingered in her mind, a question, perhaps, or a warning of things yet to come. But for now, in this moment of blissful oblivion, Anko embraced the sweet embrace of sleep, surrendering herself to its gentle embrace. And as the darkness closed in around her, she felt a sense of anticipation stirring within her, a whisper of adventure on the horizon, beckoning her towards new horizons and untold dangers. With a soft exhale, Anko slipped into the realm of dreams, leaving behind the waking world and all its uncertainties. And as she drifted away, a sense of excitement tingled in her veins, for she knew that the journey was only just beginning. But what trials and tribulations awaited her in this strange new world, only time would tell. And with that tantalizing thought lingering in her mind, Anko surrendered herself to the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in the next chapter of her adventure.